Hello my squids, prize-winning squid here. If you're new here, welcome to the Calamari Calamity, and if you're returning, welcome back. I have a nice speed paint for you guys today. It's going to be Vora from the game Paladins in her Galactic Conqueror skin. So Paladins, if you don't know, is a team-based FPS that's put out by Hi-Rez Studios and Evil Mojo Games. And a lot of people like to compare it to Overwatch. A lot of people will say it's a cheap version of Overwatch. I think they're wrong about that because I don't compare it to Overwatch, I compare it more to League of Legends in the sense that you pick your character at the start of the match and that's your character for the whole match. You can assign cards and build out your character differently with these cards. You can buy items during the matches, so you can also change your character during the match in that way. There's different skins that you can pick, and how you get them is different than how Overwatch assigns them. They're more akin to how League of Legends does it. There is quests that you can do routinely besides just the battle pass. So there's all kinds of things that I think compare it more to League of Legends than Overwatch. I've been playing this game since about 2016. I freaking love this game. I've been playing long enough to remember that play of the game was a thing. It's no longer in the game, but I've been playing long enough to remember that was a thing. And I've been playing long enough to remember that Victor and Ying were new characters. And Ying, for instance, I main her, and I've been maining her for years now. And she is a healer who casts illusions, and the illusions heal her teammates. You can also jump between the illusions, so you can actually teleport yourself between the illusions or the last place an illusion was. And you can also send the illusions out to damage other players, and or if you pick a certain attribute at the start of a match, if somebody in the enemy team damages the illusion and kills it, it explodes and damages that person. So there's all kinds of cool things that you can do with all of the characters. This isn't a paid sponsorship. This is not an ad. I'm not getting paid. I don't even think these people know who I am. I just really freaking like Paladins. I think it's a great game. So if you guys are interested in something like that, I would say go check it out. It's free to play, like I said. And I've made a couple pieces of Paladins art over the years, fan art over the years. And this is no different. The Vora skin that I drew and we're going to watch the speed paint of is actually when they did an event where she was a villainess and she was against what they called the Star Sisters, which are basically Sailor Scouts. And some of the other characters got skins that made them kind of look like Sailor Scout-esque, and it's freaking just amazing. Like, I honestly want to draw fan art of like all these skins because they're gorgeous. But this is actually one of my favorite skins in the game. So like I said, they do amazing skins, amazing splash art. I compare them to Riot. It's one of the reasons why I like to look at them, and I like to look at Riot's artwork just for, inspiration and tips of how to kind of do my own artwork. With that said, while you are watching this speed paint, I'm going to be talking about something that I think we all need to address, the elephant in the room, and that is going to be AI art and how insidious it is. Now, AI generative content, because I am not calling it art after this, my opinion is very solid on it. I think it is soulless. I think it is lazy. I think it adds zero value. I don't think it helps artists in any way, shape, or form. I think it devalues creativity, and it devalues the humanity that is in our self-expression. And I think that some of the things that have cropped up lately are things we need to actually talk about, and things that we need to point out as to why this is not a good trend that we've been on in the discussion that's been around it with people trying to defend it. So with that said, I hope you guys watch the whole video, listen to it. If you guys have opinions, go ahead and hit them in the comments. I will actually respond back to them, and we'll just get into it. We can talk about it there. All right. You've likely heard about two major happenings recently that are sure to set the tone for the next arc of AI generative content, and that is Hasbro's firing of untold numbers of staff and Wacom using AI in their promotional materials. Because I don't want to spend the majority of this video in pure stream of thought, I wanted to break it down into three areas that I want to talk about that should touch on some core factors and issues I have with people who defend AI. First Wacom, then Hasbro, and then art itself. So let's start with Wacom. If you're not overly familiar with Wacom, they're a pen tablet and pen display maker, and in many cases, they are the industry leader. They're used in every high-end studio across the world. They're used for illustration, 3D modeling, and so much more. and they are near synonymous with digital art. In fact, the first tablet I ever had was a Wacom Bamboo. They are so ubiquitous with creating digital art that you could say they're at the same level as Adobe is. Let it be known that Wacom gives you a means to get your ideas into the software. Their devices do not auto-generate or create anything without the input of the user via the stylus. Their pen displays, which are just the big monitor-looking things, are just that, monitors that can take an input from a stylus. The pen tablets, the little rectangles that sit on your desk while you look up at a separate screen, are even more limited, because you need a monitor and a computer just to make them usable. I want that to be part of your perspective, not just for Wacom, but for every other tablet maker on the planet, whether it's XP Pen, Huion, or another one. It's important for the rest of this discussion, and for future discussions. So recently, Wacom tweeted out a promotional image that featured a dragon. This dragon was generated using AI. Now, I shouldn't have to explain why it's an issue for a tablet maker who is trying to sell tablets to artists where you use your own thoughts and hands to create, turns around and uses images not sourced from said artists. In fact, if you're telling me that I can create your promotional image without ever purchasing your device, why are you trying to sell me your device? I could use the $1,000 to $3,000 Wacom asks for its professional level devices on something else that AI generative content cannot do. Like, purchasing and driving a freaking car. If I can generate your promotional images without spending any money, then why should you as a company exist? There isn't a need for you. If I can export images without ever touching a stylus, Wacom as a company is pointless. You serve no other purpose. I don't think Wacom realized what they were saying about their own existence when they tweeted out the image they did. It's gone now, but the internet never sleeps and the receipts will never disappear. Wacom probably thought they were cutting costs by doing this, assuming this would go unnoticed without realizing that everyone can see them. It's laughable because Wacom isn't hurting for money. Big tip, none of these companies are, regardless of what they say about revenue being down or economic instability. It's literally pure greed. Wacom also isn't hurting for clout. They are industry leading and they are industry standard. For promo art, they could simply ask their users to provide artwork and there would have been a clamoring unlike anything you've ever seen, and yet this is the route they went. Wacom's folly is hubris. People who use AI generative content to hawk products might want to take a step back to look at the products they're hawking, because if it's a product that the generative content is attempting to sidestep, then why would we ever need your product? While I was recording, Wacom released a statement about what happened, and I want to read the statement in full because, Lord. Dear Wacom community, you have pointed out to us that we may have incorporated AI-generated images into our New Year's marketing assets. We hear your concerns and questions. We know you are upset that it has taken us so long to adjust the situation. We needed the time to investigate and get the facts right. We want to assure you that using AI-generated images in these assets was not our intent. Here's what happened. Wacom purchased these images through a third-party vendor where it was indicated that they were not AI-generated. We vetted the images through a few popular online tools that also indicated that they were not AI-generated. However, given the community's feedback, we are now not sure how the images were created. For this reason, we immediately discontinued their use. We are very grateful to be part of the creative community, and we appreciate your feedback and collective knowledge in this field, and for holding us accountable. As a partner for artists around the world, Wacom supports human creativity and strives to serve the community with integrity. We are reviewing and updating our processes so that we can avoid this from happening again. Thank you for hearing us out. Sincerely, the Wacom team. The question then becomes, how and why did no one at Wacom's team visually inspect the art with a human eye? Why did they use AI tools to inspect AI-generated content? How is it that a company who is supposed to make products that humans are supposed to use then doesn't use art produced by humans with other humans looking over the art? How do you not have anyone on your staff who can produce your promotional materials with the products you are making? There is no reason for us to ever use a Wacom product then, if they wouldn't even use them themselves. Hubris will also be Hasbro's undoing in the end, but greed will play a big part. Hasbro, owners of Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons brand, decided to fire 1,000 plus staff that are responsible for keeping its properties illustrated and alive, many of which have been doing it for nearly 3 decades. The look and feel of Magic the Gathering and D&D for the last 30 years is because of the people who are no longer employed there, the artists and writers unceremoniously fired. They were fired because Hasbro feels like its bottom line is more important than keeping the staff that the general public interacts with first, the artists and visual storytellers who craft the things we care about, employed. They wanted to keep their operating costs quote unquote tight and lean. Remember, none of these companies are hurting. They're just greedy. Hasbro, however, went one further when it was discovered that they had posted jobs in hopes of hiring people who only had a tangential understanding of art, or who did generative content to come in and hopefully finish the projects that were left waiting from the people they had just fired. Except to be able to do that and do it in a way that no one would notice, you have to, have a fundamental understanding of art concepts that only seasoned veterans would have. If you've seen the art in Magic the Gathering or Dungeons & Dragons, you realize the skill level inherent in those pieces. These are people who have spent thousands of hours working on their craft, not someone who decided that what Midjourney spits out is quote-unquote good enough. There's someone who can spot issues and inconsistencies with a glance and has the technical know-how to fix them so they look better. There's someone whose pieces are so well put together that when you look at the details, the piece doesn't fall apart or look like smeared Vaseline with shaky and inconsistent lines. That's who Hasbro let go. They think that someone with stable diffusion will be able to replicate that process. You can't replicate what you don't know how to do. What Hasbro doesn't understand is that people don't fall in love with the look of the product because of the product itself, but because of the people attached. We love the art that is produced because we love the artists that produce it. We follow the artist from piece to piece. We love when someone we love has their art featured in one of your friggin' products. D&D is just a core set of rules that other tabletop RPGs have either replicated or surpassed, but what keeps us here are the artists and writers who continuously create new pieces that we fall in love with. People whose work we've grown to love, who we would follow. Your product isn't the only one out there, and if you've decided that the people who are responsible for keeping your product vibrant and alive are not worth keeping on your staff, then we'll leave your product and go find the one they're working on. Because the humanity of what they produce and the interactions we get to have with them about how long it took, where the ideas come from, how much they love what they do, what they would love to change, are what's important. Not just some completed nonsense from a machine. The last topic involves art itself, and I sigh at this one. So, over the last couple of weeks, I've noticed an uptick in the use of the word democratization with regards to art. And frankly, I think it's bullshit. And I'm not afraid to say that. Art is the only thing in human existence that is free, available with no gatekeeping. Not writing, not even music, are free from some form of gatekeeping, whether it's not knowing the language you want to write in, or being able to write, or not having an instrument, means to make sound, or means to play that sound in a space where it can be heard. To make art, you don't even need pen or paper. Art can be taking plants and putting them together in a bouquet, or arranging stones into shapes. Art can be mud on concrete or water with a finger on pavement. Art is made by people of all ages, all levels, all backgrounds. Nothing is stopping any of these AI generators from participating. If they say that AI generative content democratizes art, what they actually mean is that their thoughts about art are so rooted in capitalism and capitalistic nature that their only perception of art's value is whether they can make money from it and force someone else to lose money or their jobs. They don't actually value art, they value clout, which is freaking hilarious because none of us are doing art for clout. I mean, how many of you were told that you'll never have a job as an artist and that making art was worthless as a kid? That's why half of us stopped doing it to begin with. The other half of us don't know any better and it just fuels us. We do art because we love it. Nothing is stopping them from learning the craft except they believe their time more valuable than everyone else's. They believe that someone else should learn the craft of creation so their models can steal it and attempt to scrub it together into horrid, quote-unquote, good enough content. The years of learning, the intention behind the creation, the hours to refine it mean nothing to AI generators because they don't understand that what makes art the very essence of itself is the act of doing it, of little choices made across the lifetime of creating the piece. There's a reason why AI content feels so lifeless and sterile, while the only time it works are the times that it's creating something that humans haven't yet participated in, like black holes and exploding stars. If the soul doesn't exist, In a piece, it's exceedingly obvious. There's always a story behind the brushstrokes and pen. The canvas doesn't lie, and it will tell your tale, even if you're not ready for it to yet. And whenever I see someone talking about how AI could help quote-unquote jumpstart their ideas, I'm reminded that there are ideas everywhere, but how a certain segment of people don't believe in studies or idea boards or reference or even doodling. We doodled as kids, but somehow it's taboo to doodle as an adult, to just draw for the sake of drawing without needing to have a solid idea. AI offers nothing that hasn't already been provided by our minds, our eyes, and nature itself. Like cryptocurrency and NFTs, it's attempting to offer a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Unlike those two things, it's managed to fool larger companies into thinking it should be used across the board. In reality, it's a lie perpetrated by those whose only investment and source of pride is clout. It was never made to help the working artist refine their workflow, as it takes far more work to attempt to fix the glaring inconsistencies it spits out than it does to begin a piece from scratch. And don't get me started on how bad the freaking rim lighting is on every piece I've seen. It was never made to be an instructional tool about how to create pieces from scratch. It was never meant to help with atmospheric studies that you would add to your pieces. It was trained to steal and attempt to forge similar imagery as what was fed into it. But it can't, because it doesn't do it with intention, consistency, or the pride of creation. And an industry that celebrates it as a tool to be used is an industry that is destined to destroy itself. As always, thank you for watching. My webcomic, Talia, is up on my website, artbytheprizewinningsquid.com, my Patreon, and Global Comics, spelled COMIX.com. Just search for Talia on there and you'll find me. Also want to shout out my patrons, Lonnie W. and MB2000 Incorporated. Patrons get exclusive artwork every month, work in progress shots of my comic, early releases of the comic pages, and much, much more. If you want to subscribe, please go to patreon.com/theprizewinningsquid. I hope to see you guys over there. Also, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. And if you feel like it, share. Take care of yourselves. Try to do your best at art. Even if it's not the best that you've ever done, it's still you. Remember to stay hydrated, stay moist, and I'll see you next time. Squid salute. I'm out of here. Take care.